Art enables us to find ourselves. It is not what you see, but what you help others to see. Welcome to the world of art on OGTV, where we help you to see more on art. The program is sponsored by Prince Yemisi Shilon, a legal practitioner. He is Africa's largest private art collector, a grand donor and chairman of the Omoba Yemisi Shilon Museum of Art. The program is divided into 3 segments. The first segment is where we get to interview and discuss about the art world with a practicing artist, who of course tells you more about the art world. The second segment is what we call the quotable quotes, where we inspire you to be more with words of wisdom from the art world. The third segment is where you get to participate on the program by calling us and asking questions to the guests on the program. The World of Art will be back shortly. Now let us take you through a trip on Omoba Yemisi Shilon Museum of Art. Please stay with us. Welcome back. That was a short glimpse from the Omoba Yemisi Shilon's Museum of Art, and trust you enjoyed every bit of it. Today we will be focusing on another branch of art world. Now, according to research, art is divided into 7 segments. We have painting, sculpture, architecture, theater art, cinema, and others. But for the focus of art on this program this week, we will be looking at painting and sculpture, as we are joined by a multimedia artist. He goes by the name Dr. Kehinde Badaru. But just before we go ahead with the interview segment, let me give you details about our guest on the program today. Dr. Badaru Adewale Kehinde hails from Abeokuta, Ogun State, Nigeria. He is a multimedia artist with over 4 decades of training. He has, over the years, successfully combined studio practice with passion in teaching, where he started in 1977. He is a chief lecturer at the Federal College of Education at Abeokuta. He's an active member of the Society of Nigerian Artists and Sculptors Association of Nigeria, a community leader and member of Abeokuta Harmony Lion Club. Welcome to the program, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you join us today.
So I'm excited too.
So I was going through your profile. It says Dr. Badaru Kehinde.
Yeah.
So you have a PhD in art.
Yes, I have a PhD precisely in industrial and environmental sculpture from Ladoke Akintola University of Bomasho.
So let us start by telling us how it started for you. I mean, it's such a huge achievement to study art or know these things to the extent of getting a PhD.
Well, to God be the glory. I grew up like any other young lad in the community. and I attended my primary school in Ishaki, Oyo State, secondary school in Iseyin, Oyo State, before I came back to Abeokuta for my teachers training program. Then after teacher training program, I went to Federal Advanced Teachers College in Pankshin in Plateau State, where I studied fine art as a double major course. On completion of my NCE program, I served in Borno State, and I was lucky. I got the Best Copper Award for that year. So immediately after the service here, I moved straight to ABU for my first degree and master's. On completion of the master's degree, I came back home to pick an appointment with Federal College of Education, Abeokuta, before proceeding for my PhD at Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Ogbomoso.
Well, I must say that's a great achievement. Now let us come down to our focus for the program today,
Okay.
Painting and sculpture. You decide to focus on that. What's your inspiration like for, taking part? I mean, there's different segments of art, but you decided to go for painting and sculpture.
No, I specialize specifically in sculpture.
Okay.
I want to correct an information you gave earlier.
Okay.
Visual art does not include architecture and performing art.
Okay.
We have painting, sculpture, textile, ceramics, and graphics. So those are the areas of visual arts. I specialize in sculpture because I want to feel the form. I want to work in three-dimensional form. Some other, like painting and textile and graphics, are two-dimensional arts. But I went for the three-dimensional art, which is sculpture. And I think I'm really enjoying it. I'm feeling great about it.
So you've had experience in sculpture, art. What do you use majorly for your work? I mean, we have some of your work displaying on the screen right now, and we still have some of them with us in the studio right now. How do you get access to your materials while doing your work? And how long does it take to execute a particular work?
Executing a particular sculpture is difficult to pin it down to a time frame. Your motivation, the environment where you are working, and the tools you are using. The stone sculpture you are seeing beside me, I went for a workshop somewhere. Amatan workshop, Zanana workshop. Most of the tools I use there, I don't have them at home. So it was faster for me producing them with the right tools at the workshop. If I am to produce them at home, it will take longer time.
So this is made of
Stone.
Real stone.
Stone.
And then you carved it into this.
Yes.
So I'm still going to ask, how long did it take you to do this?
During the workshop, for those 2 weeks, the artists that attend the workshop are in a kind of sanctuary where you only concentrate on the work for 2 solid weeks. You interact with fellow artists and the motivation is always there. So 2 weeks I produced 2 of these.
Talking about motivation, what could possibly instigate one to have a motivation to focus on a particular aspect of art? What was yours?
My motivation, initially it was difficult because I never studied art in secondary school. But I knew I had flair for drawing. I have flair for expressing myself. So when I went for my NCE program, that was my first attempt in an art class. And I can assure you, it was exciting and demanding for a neophyte who is just coming to the art class for the first time. I took the challenge and I was able to sail through. Some other people may not be lucky, but motivation generally for art depends on where you come from, your environment, and the people around you. If you come from an environment that appreciates art, then you will be encouraged to work more. And I will talk about the environment again, because art in our environment is not given the right atmosphere to thrive because of the misconception of our parents and their preference in those days. In those days, it's always white-collar job. My son must be a doctor, my son must be a lawyer, my son must be an engineer, as if there is no world elsewhere. For crying out loud, other professions are equally important for human existence. I will give you an example. If not for art, the invention of clothing, we cannot talk about it.
Yes, textile.
The farmers just planted the cotton. It's the ingenuity of the artist that made the cotton to be spun into wool, and we have fabric that we are wearing. And again, after the fabrics have been prepared, there are indigenous entrepreneurship outfits that now take those raw fabric to the next level. Now I'm talking about adire, tie and dye. It's not every community in Nigeria that can produce tie and dye, but here in Abeokuta we are lucky, home of adire for the whole country. Not that the thing is permanently here alone. Some other communities in Nigeria have started producing adire, but you cannot compare it with the original. You know, there is a popular advert in the television. If it is not Panadol, it cannot be the same thing as Panadol.
Oh, so while we're talking about you know, growing yourself to becoming where you are today, I personally have met with young artists or aspiring artists who have told me they've had to give up on their dreams of becoming an artist because they don't have the support. Now, talking from your own perspective, was it easy for you? Was it a smooth sailing, or you had to pass through the same struggles, I mean, to get to where you are today?
I'm not easily discouraged. I don't follow where the road may lead. I like to go where there's no path and leave a trail for others to follow. So I'm not easily discouraged. I saw the obstacles, but I was able to surmount them. I just made up my mind. I will continue pushing. I will continue pushing. I will continue working hard. That young man you talked about that gave up his dream of becoming an artist made a mistake by giving up. If you try and fail, don't give up, but keep on trying. One day you will hit the gold mine and you continue to enjoy your profession. We have had cases like people talking, reading in the papers about people commissioned to go and dig a well. After digging up to 7 rings, they said they are tired. They engage another person. That one dug only 2 rings and there is water. Why must you give up on a dream you have been following? You don't follow up.
The society.
Persistence. Yes, the society, there is a problem with the society. We do society appreciate artists. They give artists all sort of names. But whether we like it or not, from the cradle of education, our educationists everywhere in the world use art to encourage young children to develop manipulative skills of their muzzle. The game of scribbling, they give them colors. They use colors in art to identify objects when they were growing up. But unfortunately, these same proprietors of schools that have used art to encourage academic development of their children will not invest in art. They only see art when they have a special occasion. They want students to come and dance, or when they want a gift for a visitor that is coming to the school. Then they'll be looking for artists who will draw the portrait, who will decorate the hall. After that one, case closed. That is a very wrong attempt. The system, the society, our government needs to invest very well into the development of art. There are some countries in Africa that do not have natural resources. What they do and what they earn their money from is through tourism. Culture and tourism cannot thrive without art. Culture and tourism cannot thrive without art. So before we can develop our culture very well, because we can say we are a tourist country, we must develop our art. Those guys that are coming to visit you, what are they going to see? They must come and enjoy our art.
But to some extent, we have that in Nigeria.
How?
I mean, we have the Ministry of Tourism that is expected to promote art and culture in the country.
When you mention Ministry of Culture and Tourism, you made me to laugh. Because the Ministry of Culture and Tourism do not take proper care of the arts. I can say it anywhere. If we have a Ministry of Culture and Tourism, and since we know that culture and tourism thrives on art, then art should be a focal point for such ministry to be able to bring tourists to the community. They are trying their best in their own little way, but I can tell you how many of our tourist centers in Nigeria or even Ogun State are known by visitors. Some of our indigenes do not know anything beyond their own local government. Anybody in Abeokuta will tell you about Olumo. Anybody about in Ijebu, they will tell you Bilikisu Sugbon. Ask there are other places that have not been explored.
Well, we'll go on this short break. I mean, at the cost of the week, we were able to get some pictures and videos from Dr. Kehinde's museum, and we will take you through these videos. Stay with us.
This one, I call it Creative Tower. It's still work in progress. So we have some industrial mold for producing these little items. So after producing them, they are supposed to be paperweight you place on table so that the fan will not blow your material away. But I was looking beyond putting it on the table, that I can create a pillar for the house. So I started assembling these things one by one until we got to this thing. It's a process of mixing clay, ceramic process, pour it into the mold, then allow it to dry, take it to the kiln for firing before we start assembling it here. After we finish the assemblage, we are still going to give it a surface finishing so that it will look glossy and attractive. I call this one Royalty. It's made of discarded material, all of them. This, what you are seeing here, are the off-cut from the fashion designer's shop. I was going around collecting them one by one, and these are the cover of canned drink, plastic drink, and this one's canned for, and this is a discarded kitchen blind that we see in many houses. So I felt that this one represented the royalty with the beads on the neck. This work, I call it the Grand Master Key. This artwork sculpture is made out of tiny keys. About 3,000 small keys are assembled to make this key. For everything we are doing, there is somebody that holds the grand key. For everything we are doing, there is an expression that will give us the final interpretation of the work. This work made of keys that were supposed to be discarded. I collected them, assembled them together using fiberglass resin and fiberglass mats to produce it. You can see this is the cover of a pressure pot in the kitchen that was to be discarded. So I picked it. This is representing the head of the family head. You can see the embroidery on his dress and the family members that are coming for meeting with him. In the traditional setup, is the family head that takes the lion's share of everything. So that is why you see more emphasis on the Olori Ebi with all other subjects coming close to him. This sculpture is representing the traditional drum in Badagry, and all the materials on it are also from discarded material. We can see brake pad here, we can see the chain of Okada, the wheel, everything were welded together, and I did not employ a welder. I did everything by myself. That was why I was telling you the other time that a young sculptor coming up must be ready to learn everything it takes to operate as a successful sculptor.
Welcome back. We had to give you little details of Dr. Badaru Kehinde's work. The phone lines are open. You could call us. You can call us to ask questions if you have questions or comments to make on the program or to our guest. Just before we left on that short break, we told you that the World of Art is sponsored by Prince Yemisi Shilon, a grand donor of and chairman of Omoba Yemisi Shilon Museum of Art. He is a legal practitioner and Africa's largest private art collector. And we still have Dr. Badaru with us in the studio today. And before we also went on that short break, we told you that our focus for the week is sculpture, and he is still very much here with us, our multimedia artist. So you told us in your profile that you have over 4 decades experience in artworks. Let me ask you, how lucrative is the business of art in Nigeria?
It's lucrative. I'm enjoying it and I'm not complaining because I persisted. For those who give up easily, they may not be able to get the best out of their professional practice. I don't. So I can tell you that it's lucrative. The problem we have is that most of the art commissions from government do not get to the artists themselves as the first party.
How do you mean?
The regular contractors will get the job and look for an artist to do it. So as the artists now become the third party to do sculptural project for government establishments, it's not good enough.
Does that mean that only government are the major
patrons?
Patrons, yes.
No. They are not the major patrons. Private institutions, private individuals do also patronize artists. But you know, for public sculpture in a society, is the government that started with the responsibility of doing such. So most governments now, most city squares, most roundabouts have been removed. Some sculptures are removed when the roads are being constructed. We don't even know where they are kept. It is not good for the system. Even if the sculptures are to give way for development, they should be relocated to somewhere that people can still admire it, not to go and dump them somewhere. I have my examples. The sculpture of the drummer at the entrance of the cultural center, Kuto, is lying there, scattered in the premises of the cultural center. You can quote me. It's not good enough. If the sculpture is going to be removed to give way for development, then the contractor, whoever is saddled with the responsibility, should be able to remove it neatly and place it somewhere else where people can admire it. So we have so many blank spaces even within the cultural center premises that the sculpture should have been relocated to.
So your profile still says that you're a member of the Society of Nigerian Artists. What is this body doing to promote art, even to the extent of maintaining art in the society?
Yes, as a member of the Society of Nigerian Artists, we have seen some lapses. One of the lapses we have seen is that we don't have enough teachers in our secondary schools to teach art. I'm saying this authoritatively, and you can construct the information. Most of the secondary schools do not have art teachers. Now, when you don't have art teachers at secondary school level, who are the ones that are going to feed the tertiary institutions? I visited a school which I will not mention. I met the art teacher who said there is no art teacher in their junior secondary. It's somebody teaching another subject that was saddled with the responsibility of teaching the subject. The basic rudiments are not taught to the students. They only place an object, go and draw, submit for assessment. Art goes beyond that. And I want to appeal to our Ministry of Education, our policymakers, to look seriously into this issue and correct where necessary.
Art goes beyond drawing. What does that really mean?
You see, let me tell you, the manipulative skill that the children develop or human beings develop came out from continuous practice, appreciation of environment, appreciation of color, and sense of beauty, sense of value. They are all embedded into art. But when we do encourage, that's why, thank God, we are moving to the political era now. Campaigns will soon start. The few sculptures that are in town, you will see how everybody will be pasting posters all over them. No respect for artworks. It is not good for the system.
So I think one just happened with a Nigerian artist standing on the sculpture of Sir Awolowo. And I also had to question, why is this happening? Are there regulations, are there bodies that are, finding such art in our society today?
The fact remains that the Ministry of Culture and Tourism are saddled with that responsibility. Because once an artwork is placed in the public, it becomes a tourist attraction. So the ministry should be able to protect that sculpture. Not just allow any Tom, Dick and Harry to go and do whatever they like to it. It's not done anywhere.
We're running out of time. And just before we wrap up on the program, what would you want a practicing artist and a young aspiring artist to get from you today after all of our discussion?
They should not give up. They should stay motivated, acquire the necessary skills, and work very hard. A very good artwork will sell itself.
A very good artwork will sell itself. There you have it from Dr. Kehinde Badaru. I must say a very big thank you for coming on the program today. For the sake of time, we have to just wrap up on the program. Artword will come your way next week. And of course, when we come back with a very interesting topic. The program is sponsored by Prince Yemisi Shillon, Africa's largest private art collector of art. And I am Miriam Usman. While I was introducing this program, I told you that art enables us to find ourselves. And we hope that you've been able to get something for yourself today. Until I see you next week, bye for now.